Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Your Life, Your Money. I was reading to the newspaper which said the fixed deposits held in the banks have gone much higher compared to what it was last year. Even today, people put money in fixed deposits in large amounts of money. This made me think about for a while and think, is fixed deposits are really in your best interest? Are they doing the job they are supposed to do? Are there a better option than the fixed deposit? Are your fixed deposits really safe? Are your fixed deposits are really leaking out your money to some place without your knowledge? This video is all about fixed deposit to find out whether fixed deposits are in your best interest or not. Stay till the end of the video. I'll take you through many of the points to make you think, and you can decide should you continue to invest in fixed deposit or you should find the alternatives for it. This is NRI Money Clinic for you, and I am Dr. Chandrakant Bhatt, your financial guide for a happy living.
NRI Money Clinic. No hype, just the right advice.
Are you an NRI living outside of India for more than 10 years? Have you dreamt of a retired life in India in a beautiful house and a lifestyle of your choice? Your dream can come true only when you take some simple and effective actions today. I will take you through a step-by-step process to make this dream come true in my webinar, Stress-Free Retired Life in India. Hello, I am Dr. Chandrakant Bhatt, financial guide and founder of YouTube channel NRI Money Clinic. I have to my credit creating secured retired life for thousands of NRIs spread across more than 60 countries. If you have an intention to make your dream retirement come true, register for my webinar. More details are in the link below. The banks have got a lot of fixed deposits. The amount of fixed deposits that we have today is much higher than the mutual funds holding money. That's the kind of amount of money which is there in the fixed deposit. How did the fixed deposits become so popular? The answer lies in the post-independence India era. At that point of time, Indians never had any other option to park their money. The place where they will go and park the money was the bank fixed deposits. So everybody was going and parking money in the fixed deposit. Then came the LIC of India. So insurance policies became another alternative to park your money. The unit trust came much later. So for a great part of independent India, the Indians had the only instrument called the fixed deposits. And they were attractive. I remember during my college days and even post my college days, during my early working years, banks used to give 14% rate of return on the fixed deposits. Attractive enough, isn't it? So 14% FD rate, if the bank is going to offer you tomorrow, will you say no? You'll be happy to do that fixed deposit. Make no mistake, banks used to give 14%, 15% rate of return as an interest for the monies that is parked with it. It did not happen in vacuum. There was an underlying inflation. As a response to the inflation, the FD interest rate was higher. Then came the revolution of mutual funds somewhere in the early 90s. And from there onwards, the Indians started getting one another option of mutual funds to invest their money. Now, mutual fund is also a household word. Insurance policies are a household word. And bank fixed deposits needs no mention. Everybody uses bank fixed deposit. Now let's look at, is bank fixed deposits are in your best interest? Are they living up to your expectations? To find an answer, we have to dig deeper into the question, why do I put my money into bank fixed deposit? The first is, I have a saving. I have saved money. I need a place to park this money. When I park this money, what is my consideration? My money should be safe. I don't want to give this money to a money lender and tomorrow money lender runs away or runs into a problem. I'll not get back my money. So I need safety of the capital. That's why I go and put my money in a bank fixed deposit. I also need liquidity in case suddenly I need money. I should be in a position to withdraw it, or I should be able to get a credit line against that. That's the second reason I put my money in the bank fixed deposit. Yet another reason why I put money in the bank fixed deposit is my money should not get eroded of its purchase power. I can keep the currency in my house, in my cupboards. Next year, if it is a 100 rupee note, it will remain as a 100 rupee note. It will not become 105, 110. Whereas the prices on the ground will rise. So what you could get with 100 rupees this year, you may need 104, 105, 110, depending on how does the inflation move up in an economy. To keep pace with the loss of erosion of purchase price, I need that fixed deposit, which will add interest, which will compensate my erosion of purchase price. These are the three basic reasons for which we all put fixed deposits. Now let's evaluate your bank fixed deposits against the three primary criteria that I have mentioned: the safety, the liquidity, and the retention of purchase power. Is it being served or not? First is safety. The money that you have kept in the bank are generally safe. I carefully use the word, not to create fear in you, not to give you unwanted complaisance to say that your money is absolutely safe. Money is generally safe. All the banks, including the nationalized banks, including the private banks, especially the large banks, they are all very safe. It's fair to say that you will get back your money. But is it a guarantee that you will get the money back? Is it like I give it to government and the government is going to give me the money back? The answer is no. The safety of your money depends on two factors. One, the strength of the institution. If the bank is safe, if it conducts its business in a scientific way, it lends money, it is able to collect the money back, then it is able to pay the money. Banks are highly regulated. Reserve Bank of India supervises them, keeps a tight control on them, what they can do, what they cannot do, how they have to lend it, how they have to control the exposure control, how much FDs they can raise. All these things are supervised by Reserve Bank of India. So it remains generally safe. The large banks are too big to fail. Therefore, it's unlikely that they'll fail. However, the same thing cannot be said about the smaller banks or the cooperative banks. Many people put a good amount of money in small banks or cooperative banks. These banks may not be as safe as these nationalized banks. So if the banks are small, if the banks are cooperative bank in nature, then there is definitely a chance of you might lose your money because of the lack of strength on the part of the institution. Once in a while, regularly, almost every year, you see one or the other bank is in the news for the wrong reasons. Make sure that you park your money, if you are doing the fixed deposit, in the large institutions. Likewise, when you put your money in the bank fixed deposit, if the institutions were to go belly up, what you get is a bank insurance, which is a paltry 5 lakh rupees. Therefore, I will as good as forget that insurance part of the bank fixed deposit. So the safety of the money depends on the strength of the institution. The second reason why you have parked your money in the bank fixed deposit is for the liquidity of it. This is one place banks score absolutely top class. You have got a crore of rupee, 10 crore rupee, 5 lakh rupee, 10 lakh rupee. You need this money. You can count on it. Either you can liquidate your fixed deposit or you can request for a credit line and overdraft and say, I've got the fixed deposit. Keep this as a collateral and I need that money. You can get the liquidity that comes with it. So that part is well served by the fixed deposit. The third reason is the retention of purchase power of your money. The purchase power of your money, banks by and large will retain it. By and large. But it is not a guarantee that they will retain it. The interest rate of the day gets fixed as a response to the underlying inflation. If inflation is higher, the interest rates are higher. If inflation is lesser, the interest rate will also be lesser. I spoke to you in the beginning of the video that I had seen a phase where the banks were giving 14% as the FD rate. Why were they giving? Because the underlying inflation was 12, 13, 14%. That is why the bank was giving an interest rate of 14%. So the bank's interest rates are generally fixed in a particular manner. A simple rule to remember here is the interest rate will be approximately 1% to 2% above the underlying inflation to make sure the purchase price of the money is not eroded. But this is a thumb rule. But there is no guarantee that this rule will be followed. And there are times where the inflation is low, whereas the FD rates are higher. But that's an aberration. That's an aberration. You rarely see that situation. And there are phases where the inflation is higher, but still the FD rate is lower. Go back to the period 2010 to 2014, the inflation was 10 to 13%, whereas your FD was giving you just about 9 to 9.5%. I have a question for you. What is the interest rate you are seeing today in the Indian banks, and what is the underlying inflation? Is it an aberration? Is it something which is going to change? I want to hear from you. What do you think? Is the Indian interest rates are disconnected from the underlying inflation? A homework for you? Check the newspapers, check the Google, what is the current inflation rate, what is the current interest rate, and find out what is the gap. Is it in a normal band or is it an abnormal band? And what might happen going forward? Let me know your views in the comment section. When it comes to the question of bank fixed deposit, safety, even though is a matter of risk, even though it's a small risk, the bank fixed deposits hides two major risk points, which is not generally debated, not people have an idea about it, or people have just not thought about it too much. What's the risk? The real risk of bank fixed deposit is a risk called the reinvestment risk. What is this reinvestment risk? A reinvestment risk is, now you have put your money in a bank fixed deposit for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, or a maximum period of 10 years. Once the FD matures, you have to renew it. When you renew it, you will not renew it at the current interest rate. If you renew it at the current interest rate, there is no reinvestment risk. However, if you reinvest it for a lower interest rate of the future, that means your money today is exposed to a reinvestment risk of lower interest at a later point of time. It's equally possible that you may reinvest this at a higher interest rate, but that probability is very small. So the bank fixed deposit, the genuine risk that you carry is the reinvestment risk. The current interest rates can be assured only for a period of maximum 10 years. Again, a question for you. If you have to conquer the reinvestment risk, which is the best instrument you can use to lock your interest rate for your lifetime? Let me know your answers. If you are a regular viewer of this channel, I have discussed this particular point in multiple videos. Let me check what you have understood from my other videos. The other risk of fixed deposit is the risk of taxation. Fixed deposits pass through a cruel tax. A cruel tax is the right word to use here because they go through what is known as an accrual tax. I said cruel tax, it's an accrual tax. An accrual tax is your bank fixed deposits gain interest day after day, year after year. At the end of the year, the interest that you earn on your fixed deposit is treated as an income that you have derived during that year. It is added to your income and you have to pay taxes. How much is the tax that you have to pay? It depends on your slab rate. If your slab is a nil tax, you don't have to pay tax. If you are at a 10% tax, you have to pay 10%. If you are at the maximum tax slab of 30% and more, you have to pay taxes according to that. If you are an NRI and you hold a large chunk of fixed deposit, obviously, needless to say, they will go through the highest tax slab. Now, I have already told you, there is no guarantee that your fixed deposit will all the time conquer the purchase power problem that I discussed with you. They have to add interest, which should be more than the inflation. Then only it retains the purchase power. Now, let's assume you get only 1% more rate than the underlying inflation. What if your tax is 30%? Let's say you have put 100 rupees in the bank and current interest rate is 6%. Right? And the underlying inflation, let's say it's 5%. You're getting 1% more than the inflation. The purpose is served. Now you get 6 rupees interest. And if your tax slab is 30%, you will lose literally 1/3 of the money as the taxes. That means instead of your 100 rupee FD becoming 106, it becomes 106. You pay 30% of 6 rupees, which is 1/3, including surcharge and other things. So you lose 2 rupees. That means at the end of the year, what you are left with 104 rupees only. I said inflation is 5%. And post-tax, what you get is 104. That means by keeping the money in the bank, you are eroding your wealth. Make no mistake, every taxable individual who keep fixed deposits in the bank will erode his wealth every year because of this taxation issue. So these are the two deadly risks: reinvestment risk, taxation risk for a person in a higher tax slab. Then the post-tax returns from the fixed deposit creates wealth erosion. NRIs have got an argument. I've got an NREFD. I'm not liable to pay taxes on the fixed deposit. How does it work? Yes, you have a point. NRIs do not need to pay interest on the fixed deposit, but that tax you need not pay under two conditions. One, when you are an NRI, you don't need to pay the taxes in India. However, if you are living in some countries like UK or Canada or in US, your interest that you earn in India will get taxed in your country. The other case the NRIs have to consider is, today you are an NRI, but you may come back to India and you become a resident Indian. What happens when you become a resident Indian? When you become a resident Indian, the NRI FDs have to be recalibrated as resident FDs and they will start attracting taxes. You have worked abroad for so many years, accumulated huge amount of fixed deposits, and suddenly you are exposed to these two massive risks when you come back to India: reinvestment risk and the taxation risk. And that cannot be avoided if you hold your money mostly in the bank fixed deposits. So what do I mean? Does it mean to say that you should not use the fixed deposit? The answer is no. Fixed deposits are useful, but however, you should use it with caution. If you are a person who is below the tax threshold, by all means, use the fixed deposit according to your needs. But if you are in a 30% tax bracket, you have to really think, should I use it or not? See to what extent you can manage. The second thing is, look at your liquidity needs. You also look at your mental needs. There are some people who, if they don't have bank fixed deposit, just can't sleep that night. For a person like me, in my lifetime, I have never done a fixed deposit. Right? So there are two kinds of people who exist. I am not comfortable doing a fixed deposit. There are people who can't find comfort without a fixed deposit. So find out what is very comfortable for you. Keep it to the bare minimal level. Keep it to a level which is below the tax threshold level. Fixed deposits are fine in such case. Otherwise, do not overcommit your money in fixed deposit and expose yourself to the risk that I have already mentioned. It erodes your wealth, no doubt about it. Suppose if I don't want to use the fixed deposit, what is the alternatives in my hand? There are multiple alternatives which are available in front of you today. For example, today you have got the mutual funds. In case of mutual funds, you have debt funds. They will not go through an accrual taxation in the immediate run. See, in a bank fixed deposit, you have to pay taxes every year. In case of debt funds or the mutual fund, they will also come under the slab rate. However, you pay that when you harvest that money sometime in the future. Instead of paying every year, you pay it when you walk out of this money. To that extent, the taxes will get deferred in case of mutual fund. You also have got mutual fund schemes which are conservative in nature, which can give you a better rate yield than a bank fixed deposit. You have got the conservative hybrid funds today. If you have slightly longer tenure, you can use the hybrid funds of the mutual funds. You can use the multi-asset funds in the mutual fund. There are various grades of mutual funds which are available, which will mimic like a bank fixed deposit today, and you can make best use of it. They are much safer than the bank fixed deposit. They give you better yield than a mutual fund. Your liquidity will not get compromised. The investments in your mutual funds are divisible in nature. Therefore, you can use comfortably the mutual fund instead of the fixed deposit. However, you need professional assistance. You need to build your portfolios in a proper way. Just don't be very casual about it. If you want, you can use our services as well. One another place where you can use instead of fixed deposit is the guaranteed return insurance plan. Again, professional caution is required here. Your liquidity needs have to be calculated. Your earning potential, what you intend to do, when you need that money, everything needs to be looked into, and the plans have to be designed properly for you. However, if you use it, you can save on the taxes, you can conquer the reinvestment risk, and to a great extent, post your completion of premium, liquidity can also be managed to a great extent. Again, the word I use is extreme discretion is required, professional assistance is required if you were to use guaranteed return insurance plans. So dear viewers, hope the video that I have done today with respect to fixed deposit, what's its advantages, disadvantages, potential risks and the alternatives to it helped you to understand and take meaningful decisions around the money that you have parked in the fixed deposit. Do give me a thumbs up. Do share these videos with your near and dear one, friends and relatives, and on all the WhatsApp groups on which you are connected with. Thank you very much for watching this episode on NRI Money Clinic. I shall be back with you with yet another thought on your life, your money. Till then, stay safe. Jai Hind.
Press the bell icon for more details and subscribe our channel.